I create ease in my home, abundance in my life, and joy in my role. I invest in what serves me, embrace the luxury of simplicity, and build a life that feels as good as it looks. In this space, we honor ease, elevate our standards, and redefine what it means to be a modern woman.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome into the Solstice Stoic. It is kind of gloomy. It's been storming off and on over here where I'm at in Houston, and it's a really cozy evening. It's April, but I have already started fall vibes. This is oat milk and just coffee, nothing else, no sugar or anything. So let's get started in today's card pull, affirmation and journal prompt card pull. And I just feel like when you listen to me go through these cards, I feel like you should probably keep an open mind about this. It could really resonate. Hopefully it gets you thinking, get those gears turning, so you'll have something to think about and ponder on for the week and things to work on throughout the week, because a lot of this stuff is meant to help you work through things on your own, but also make changes as well too. So let's go ahead. We have our 6 cards. And I really do feel like let's just pull one out of this. Let's do this one. We're gonna start with boundaries today. Boundaries, can y'all see that? Boundaries. I will take a step back from unhealthy relationships. Now, I gotta get comfortable for this one. Now, some people don't even recognize when they're in unhealthy relationships. They think it's almost like they've been brainwashed. It's almost like they subconsciously feel like they deserve to be in a relationship. And it's not like a bad relationship. In their heads, they don't think it's bad, or they're literally viewing the relationship with rose colored glasses on, and they're in literal denial about the situation. And it's not a relationship. It could be a relationship in a sense of romance, best, like friends, co-working relationships, like professional relationships. It could also be relationships with your kids that could be really unhealthy, super toxic. And I think that when that person, or when if you're the one in a toxic relationship and it's in denial, when you have more than 2 people telling you about your relationship, and they're good friends of yours, or they're close to you and they love you, they are not just talking out the side of their neck, okay? I think that's something that you should probably sit back and relax and like really think on. Nobody's telling you to make any sudden moves and sudden changes, but I think that you need to be okay with stepping back. But I think also while somebody put this in your head, like, I will take a step back from unhealthy relationships and be okay with it and create boundaries, while you are figuring that part out, the in between being told and actually stepping back, you should probably give yourself 30 days and take note. Unless it's physical. If it's a physical abuse, you should probably leave earlier. But a lot of these unhealthy relationships are more psychologically done to people. It's not physical, it's mental and emotional. I feel like 30 days between what people have been telling you and your exit point every day in your journal. This is a bonus journal prompt for the folks that are in unhealthy relationships. Take a note every day about what happened that day between you and this person, you and this coworker, you and your spouse, you and your good friend, you and your child. And it most likely is a grown child, not like a little kid, a grown child. Take note on the conversations, on your in-person interactions, and then at the end of 30 days, you go back and you read everything that you've written about your interaction. And while you're doing this, be truthful with yourself. Don't sit up here and try to justify things. Just write for what you saw. Write it for what you saw, not what you feel and believe, what you actually saw with your own two eyes and heard with your own two ears. Tone of voice, how they responded to you, whether that was aggressive, soft-spoken, or whatever. Because obviously not every interaction will be horrible, but like this is going to help you gauge if you're in a toxic relationship or not. People get upset and they get mad at each other, but like if you're in a toxic relationship, it's usually on a daily, consistent, all day basis. So let's read the back end, the journal prompt that they have. You can love someone deeply and also know that their presence in your life is not the healthiest thing for you in this moment. Nobody said you had to write them off for life. You're just taking a step back. So hopefully they can work on some stuff and you can work on some stuff, right? Setting a boundary by loving someone from a distance is sometimes the best thing for your emotional well-being. Sometimes when you step back from relationships of all sorts and you start focusing on yourself and you put that hard boundary, you're going to start to see people for who they really are, because now you're not interacting with them daily, you're observing them. You're not in it, you're observing it. So now you're a bystander. So then you're going to start looking at, oh Lord, that's how they really treat people. Oh my God, that's how they really talk to people. That's how they treat themselves. Then you're going to start looking at yourself like, what in the world was going on with me to make me feel like I had to put up with that, or I deserve that type of treatment. Excuse me, spend some time considering whether there is someone you need some space from, and then finish the following phrase. Loving blank, whoever that person is, from a distance means blank. What that means for you, for them, or whatever. But I still feel like this extra exercise that I talked about, where when somebody's telling you about what they've observed with you and this other person, whether it's your grown child, your coworker, your boyfriend, your husband, your best friend, other people are telling you stuff and it's probably best to take 30 days from when you started getting, people dropping hints and memos and stuff, to when you exit out of that relationship, you draw that hard boundary. Those 30 days, you need to be in your journal, writing down your interactions with these people, or this person or these people, like, and take your emotions out of the situation, out of that, and then go back at the end of 30 days and read what you've written. And what you've written would really help determine if you need to put a hard stop boundary with these people. All right. So we're going to be moving on to personal power. Okay, this one is a really good one. Personal power. I receive everything that is meant for me without hesitation. Now, we live in a world where you would think on social media that we are good receivers, but from what I've experienced in real life, people are not good receivers. They don't know how to take a gift, a compliment. They don't know how to take help. They don't know how to do any of that stuff. if they always look at receiving things as either selfish or there's some weird motive behind it. They can't just take something. And I think that's crazy. And I think that when you finally understand that you are worthy to have stuff, you are worthy for abundance, you are worthy to have enjoyment in this life, then you will start being a very good receiver, not in a selfish way, but you're not going to turn down things and help and stuff. And so everything that is meant for you, you should feel like you deserve it, and you should be actively looking for it. You shouldn't be sitting around basically saying, woe is me, I don't deserve anything. You got to ask yourself why you feel that way. Why do you feel like you don't deserve anything? Why do you feel like people shouldn't be wanting to help you? Because I mean, if you go around telling people, oh no, I don't think that's right, I don't deserve that, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy, and they're gonna wonder, okay, so why don't you deserve this? Did you do something bad? Are you nuts? Like, they're gonna start asking around about you, about what's good with you, And then on top of that, when you are exuding that type of energy, then you're gonna lose friends, because people don't want to be around people who aren't confident in themselves, who don't feel like they deserve anything or anything like that. Like, so you need, without hesitation, without any inkling of a thought, you just need to be like, yeah, I deserve it. Literally everything, especially if you are working to build legacy, if you're working to build things in your life, to have a good life, to be able to help other people, and either in your family or people that you run across, and you just want to be a giver at that, you should be more than excited and without hesitation, like I said, that everything that comes your way as far as positive things go, and everything that's meant for you to have, you will have it. I don't feel like God will open doors for you to walk through for nothing. He doesn't want you to stand at the entranceway and just look at it. There might be trials with the things that you will receive in life. I'm not saying everything's going to be happy-go-lucky, but you should definitely consider that you do deserve it. And then on top of that, if doors get closed, just understand, just because a door closes, you can have like 10 doors closed. And I feel like that's a way for God literally to redirect you into the right path, because people are walking into doors and walking into businesses, they're walking into careers and things that is not even part of their destiny. And then you could tell, because it's all forced, nothing's flowing, nothing's creative. Like, everything looks like a copycat of something else that they saw. Is nothing organic about it. On top of that, it shouldn't be so overwhelming either. It shouldn't be a burden. Obviously, anytime you're growing a business, it could be very burdensome. It could become a burden a little bit, meaning like it could get hard, but it shouldn't be so hard to the fact where it's like you would rather be doing anything else in the world, okay? So understand, just because doors are closing doesn't mean that one door isn't going to open. I've tried forcing my way into certain arenas, but when I try to go into it, I know that there's too much friction, way too much friction. So I just stop. And I'm also a big believer in, if something is going on and I cannot fix it within my business or my life, I will take it out of my life, in my business. I will eliminate an event. I will take out an additional thing that I added to my home, as far as like an additional responsibility outside of like obviously children and stuff like that, but like an added project that's adding a lot of mental stress, emotional stress, anything that makes, when somebody asks you to do something and they ask you, hey, can you help me, or can you take over such and such and such and such, and you know what they're wanting you to do, and it starts to stir up like irritation, when your body starts having a violent reaction, an emotional reaction to it, you should probably just say no. Because if you take that on, you're going to feel you're going to be resentful. So I say stop walking into doors, meaning careers or what you consider a good opportunity, which it may be, but just not for you. Stop walking into those doors and start, looking for the opportunities and doors that align with you, and be open to receive everything, right? So let's look at the prompt for the journal. When we don't believe we are worthy or deserving, we reject or undermine the good that comes our way. Regularly reminding yourself of your worth will help you open your heart to receiving without hesitation. Begin each day by standing in front of a mirror, looking yourself in the eyes, and listing 5 reasons why you're worthy. And this is so crazy that this is on here, because about 2 years ago, I did a post on Facebook telling people if you could go look at yourself in the mirror and just start talking positive to yourself, because even though you're looking at your reflection, it's still, to your brain, it's like you're looking at another person that looks like you. Can you imagine it's going to be awkward. It's going to be so awkward, because you're like, why am I telling myself that you're pretty, you look good? Like, you start to feel weird, and you start to feel like this is like self-absorbed. But the thing about it is, why is it self-absorbed to tell yourself? Nobody's asking you. You're not going out and asking people to tell you you're beautiful. You're not going out and asking people to tell you that you're worthy and all this stuff. You're telling yourself that. So if you can't tell yourself that you're worthy, that you're beautiful or handsome, you're smart, you're good with this, you're good at that, if you can't tell yourself that, you should not even expect others to tell you that. But yet we're always looking for validation with other people, but we're not even validating our own selves. So that's something like we really need to work on. This may feel uncomfortable at first, but give yourself permission to not hold back. Literally, you can even do it like this. Like how I'm talking, right now I'm talking to the camera, I'm talking to you, but I can see my actual self in the camera. So if you want to get up every morning and you can record a video journal entry, stick that in a folder on your computer, and literally go back and watch yourself. You could do a daily affirmations video journal to yourself. And every day, every morning or evening or sometime every day, you talk to yourself and give yourself affirmations, and you talk to yourself like you would talk to your friend. You would go, Tiffany, you had a rough day yesterday or a rough week last week, but you're really good. You did really good in this, that, and the third, and maybe we could work on this, that, and the da-da-da-da. And then you get to play that back. Over time, you have a whole literal video library of yourself telling yourself how awesome you are. And it's also a really great way to keep some notes on what happened the days before. But you should definitely do that. Get creative with your journaling. Nobody told you had to go in and go buy a bunch of journals and write. If you don't like writing, you can definitely type it up. But I always feel like it's easy just to turn on the camera and just talk, Reclaim your power by reminding yourself of your worth every day. That's literally, that's all we got to do. It's just remind ourselves every day that we belong here, that we belong to, we deserve to have an abundant life, whether that's in romance, financial, family, with yourself, professionally, in your business. You deserve it, and you need to act like it and walk like it and talk like it. Every day you show up on social media, you need to act like you got a million people waiting to see what you have to say. They're eager to see what you have to say. So you got to show up like that. If you don't show up like you got a million people waiting to hear what you have to say, then you probably shouldn't show up until you get to that point of confidence, because you want to put out the best version of yourself. Not saying that it's fake or anything, but you still want to, if you feel like you deserve all these things, you got to show up like you deserve all these things, and that you can also produce great quality content for people when it comes to your business. If you're a content creator, you got to show up for your family. You got to make an effort to be a bit more organized. Like me, I'm making an effort to try to be a bit more organized, a bit more better at housekeeping, and a bit better at just a lot of other things in my life. But you got to show up and do the work too, you know, while you're sitting up here and talking about you're this and you deserve that. And yes, you do. But you got to put some action and some work behind those words as well too. All right. Let's talk about healing. Let's talk about some healing. No. I'm sorry. Let's talk about self-trust. I trust in my legacy. I trust in my legacy. Do you trust what's in your legacy? Do you trust that what you're doing today is going to be beneficial to not just you, but your future kids, grandkids, and things like that? I trust in my legacy. For me, it's like I'm doing the work that I feel will be generationally profitable. Profitable, not just in money, but like in self-respect and profitable in the sense of security and things like that, confidence. So when you wake up every day, just like when I just told you about you receive without hesitation, you should also wake up every day and say, what I'm doing in my career right now is going to set me up and my family and in my the future generations up for life. I'm not doing this for nothing. I'm not waking up, creating content, taking meetings, doing all these things for nothing. So you got to trust yourself. There's a lot of people who are doing stuff, they don't even trust themselves doing it. And you could tell they don't trust themselves because of how they show up, how much of what they claim that they're so passionate about, how much they produce of that. You could tell looking at their social pages, looking at basically just the fruits of what they're doing. You know, you could look at it. So I'm just wanting you to know you need to start really trusting in yourself. And when you really start trusting in yourself, you're going to start making decisions, smart decisions. You're going to start making decisions and moves in life with a lot more confidence, okay? There will be days where your purpose feels fuzzy or out of reach, because a lot of people have some really big goals and it's sad, but the people around them make them feel like that's a ridiculous goal, or like you're not going to make it because it's like, that's just too much, because they can't handle it. They don't have the capacity, but you have the capacity. In those moments, it can help to zoom out and take a wider view of your life. Stop, look at everything. Self, kids, spouse, where you live, what you do for work, who your friends are, what your habits are, what your dreams and your passions are. Look at everything, okay? Instead of focusing on today or tomorrow, think long term. Take all of that and see what is going to take every category that I just listed and start thinking about for each category, not the next day, the next 6 months, but like the next 5 to 10 years plus, you know? What do you want your life to look like in 5 years, 10 years? What do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want people, when your name comes up, what do you want people to say? People don't really think about that until something crazy happens in their life, They need to think about that. What do you, close your eyes and meditate on this for at least 10 minutes. I say do this every day. Revisit that. Revisit your legacy why, every day, to keep you focused in each category. What is the game plan? For example, with kids, everybody wants their kids to grow up to be successful, to be secure, financially secure, emotionally secure, like have a great spouse, just be good, like to where they're not always asking. And so with that being said, if we're planning for 5 or 10 years ahead for like, but right now, that means parents who want their kids to be successful, they're sacrificing certain things. They're sacrificing money when it comes to their education. There are some parents out here that are paying thousands of dollars a month in their children's tutoring, whether that's or private school or whatever. They're paying money for that. They're sacrificing their portions of their income to make sure their children have what they need. They're sacrificing their time because they're pouring into their kids on a daily basis, whether that is reading to their children, spending time helping their kids understand homework, and or taking homework a step further and actually getting them involved in the action of doing whatever their homework is doing. Parents are out here sacrificing. So when you're trying to build legacy, it starts with you, but it also means you have to instill some things. You got to sacrifice some things for your children so that legacy that you have dreamed about can become a reality even when you're gone. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's talk about letting go. We're going to talk about letting go. I release the need to get over things. Oh my gosh. You don't have to get over it, sis. Nobody asked you to forget about it. Nobody asked you to not, think about something that's happened to you before you jump into other things. But I do want to say that I don't think you should hold grudges. I believe you should forgive people for yourself, not for them. But you don't have to get over it, if that makes sense. Meaning, like, you don't have to forget. That's what I'm getting out of this card. You don't have to forget. Just because somebody did something to you, said something to you, something's happened to you in your life, doesn't mean you have to get over, or you have to forget. Don't force yourself to move past things. You don't have to bypass your feelings because it's long enough. This is really big when it comes to a loss. Like when somebody passes away, people feel like after whatever allotted time they got in their brain, they feel like that's all people need to grieve. And grieving actually could last a lifetime. Will it be as strong as it is when it first happens? No. But you'll forever have a feeling of emptiness in a certain area. It's just that it'll be really small, because when somebody passes away, the grief is huge. But when over time, that grief bubble kind of like starts to shrink. It shrinks, but it won't ever go away. So that's where you have to go through your coping mechanisms and counseling and affirmations and journaling and the healing process. But healing and grief can last a long time. So don't let anybody ever tell you to get over it. You'll never get over it. What you'll do is it just won't be a huge factor in your day-to-day life, okay? Heal at your own pace and revisit things as needed when they bubble up. Definitely revisit things. Whether that is an affair that's happened in your marriage, if it comes up, deal with it, but you don't have to act out. Sometimes when they call themselves dealing with something, they go and act out toward that person. Dealing with it to me means taking a moment to reflect why this came up in my memory. Take like what triggered this memory. Then I would probably write it down. And if I wasn't writing down how I felt, I would like literally turn on the camera and talk to myself about why this is bothering me still to this day, and try to pinpoint a root cause. Because, and this is not just in an affair. This could happen with just anything negative that's happened to you, okay? That hurts you. You just need some time, And so I would pop on a video on the camera and talk to myself and walk it out. Like, what was I doing prior to this thought? What was going on in my day before this thought popped up? When this thought popped up, how did it make me feel? Was I enraged? Was I sad? Was I pissed off? Like, how was I feeling, right? Then I would sit up there and try to figure out, like, okay, so I've forgiven this person. I'm on my healing journey. I'm okay. I'm physically okay. I'm mentally okay. Nothing is going on. In the case of an affair, my spouse is here with me. We've gone to the counseling. It's been a year or two. Not to say you have to get over it, but if you choose to stay in certain situations or you choose to forgive people, then you have to understand that once you forgive and you let it go, as far as you're not going to let it affect your day-to-day life, then when things pop up in your memory, it's up to you. You're responsible for your actions. So no, you don't have to get over it at all, but you are responsible for how you react. And I would react by doing what I just told you, talking to myself, walking myself through the process, talking about things to myself on camera, how I can get past this, grounding techniques, whatever, right? So next time a reoccurring difficult thought or emotion comes up, greet it with curiosity and notice what triggered the feeling. Wow, that's crazy because I didn't even read this card. Yes, you have to notice what triggered that feeling, and whatever you were doing right before that happened, revisit that moment, okay? Without rushing to get to the other side. It's better just to, you have to do this for your own mental health. You have to do this. It's going to help you deal with things on a day-to-day basis. It's going to help you cope. It's going to help you get through your days. I'm telling you. Everything we've talked about so far, setting those boundaries, having personal power, self-trust, letting go of certain things, Okay, let's get into self-love. Learn to care for yourself by addressing my wants and needs. I learned to care for myself by addressing my wants and needs. This is huge because people will literally put themselves so much on the back burner, they will let things happen to them. They won't address things that make them feel bad, that is frustrating them, that is causing them to have a mental health crisis. They won't address anything, either because fear, just plain old fear. They don't think people will care. They don't think their spouse will care. They don't think anybody can help them. But you're never gonna know if anybody can help you if you don't address it. On top of that, you do need to address this, this is part of setting boundaries as well too, especially when you're talking about in a romantic relationship. You have to address your wants and needs from the beginning. And I will go ahead and those are your expectations. You have to address that stuff in the beginning, because you can't wait a decade down the line and start complaining about some stuff that you never addressed, that you never even came up, but you just let it build up. Oh, I'm gonna get over it. He's No. Men too. I say this, and for people who are in marriages, I don't think a lot of people who get married, because most of the people I know, who got married, they got married in their 20s. They weren't thinking about expectations. I don't think so, because it's evident when they get into their 30s, a decade down the road, 1 or 2 kids deep, mom's pissed off, dad's frustrated at mom doesn't understand why dad's acting like this. It's because y'all didn't set expectations in the beginning. And then you're not the same person you were when you got married 10 years later. I am not the same person, the same Tiffany, when I got married at 25. I'm 34. Excuse me, I will be 35 in December. That's a decade. Okay? First off, you don't want to be the same person. That means you haven't grown. So, conversations with your spouse, conversations with your friends. If you're in a professional relationship, conversations with your work buddy or whatever, those need to happen. Don't wait until so much time has passed and then randomly switch up. Because it's going to just lead to disaster. Communication. And you have to address what you need and want. You do, in every area of your life. You do it with your children. You tell your children what you need from them to do, what you want from them to do, and especially in adult relationships as well too. Are you silencing your wants and needs? Today, pick something you want for yourself that you've been too afraid to ask for. A moment of rest, a personal boundary, a favor from a loved one, and make a point to ask for it with clarity and confidence. This takes practice, so start with something small and achievable if that's what feels best. How did it feel to address your needs? You need to write all that down. And I say, with that, to add to that, you really need to first figure out what is it that you want and need from this person. What really is it that you want? You look at your relationships across the board and put them in categories. Work relationships, your children, adult children as well, best friends or friends, and then your romantic relationship. And evaluate each and last one of those relationships and figure out what is it that you need out of this person to make yourself more secure, to make yourself more confident, and just more grounded in that relationship, you know? So, all right, so that was self-love. Now let's move on to the last card. Oops. Did I drop the last card? Okay, hold on. Oh, here it is. Healing is the last card. I receive rest. I give myself permission to slow down. You give yourself permission to slow down. And I am going to, this is going to be more so about women that are in careers and how we try to rush to make the bag. Because, you know, that whole boss babe era was toxic AF, in my opinion. And I think we need to slow down in our businesses and we need to really look at what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Because I feel like when we're doing all this stuff in our business, I feel like we kind of lose sight of what our original purpose was for starting the business. I feel like we need to slow down when it comes to rushing into partnerships. We need to slow down when it comes to agreeing to things, and even slow down when it comes to, depending on what your industry is, accepting clients. And also, I want to go ahead and just throw in this with relationships as well. You need to slow down when it comes to romantic relationships. You don't have to rush into anything. You don't have to agree and accept anything. And I just feel like when it comes to decision making, we all need to slow down and really give ourselves at least 24 hours to think on it. You know what I mean? At least 24 hours. And that's still a little bit rushed depending on what it is. Depending on what it is, you know? So in your journal or on a piece of paper, write about the things you're rushing through and how'd you like to slow down. Take a moment. Write down what you feel like you're rushing through, whether that's buying a house, a relationship, something in your business, something that you want to do for your personal. Write it down, and then if you really want to slow down, say why you first figure out why you want to do it. Why are you such a rush? What's the rush? What's the rush? And then figure out like the benefits of slowing down and making this decision. Figure out the cons of slowing down and making this decision. When you're done, give yourself permission to rest. Spend at least 10 minutes doing nothing. 10 minutes? I say 24 to 48 hours, sweetheart, okay? Anyways, I hope you guys have a great one. I hope you guys really enjoyed this card pull today. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so uplifting, and I hope this sets you up for the week so that you can have some action steps, something to think about, something to work on. this week, and I will see you next Monday.